is from Israel and is our qigong master. He, as I told you, wrote a lead article, was one of the co-authors of the lead article in the New England Journal on qigong and fibromyalgia. Brian Jantz, who's a music therapist. Brian works with the people at the Berklee School of Music. We're fortunate to have a great music school here in Boston. And we have a professor, Suzanne Hanser, who's a professor of music therapy, who often lectures with us and works with Brian and others in setting up programs for adults and children. And then Bambi Mate, who we met as one of our massage therapists, and going to talk about massage. Our acupuncturists are very busy. You can see all the rooms are closed for acupuncture. So they're busy, and unfortunately one of our acupuncturists had to go to China because his, I think it's his mother or one of his parents is quite ill, and he went there to help out. So if it's okay with you, we'll talk about qigong and taiji and whatever.
Mind, body.
Mind, body.
Yeah. How long do I have?
Rami could talk for 2 hours, 3 hours. Rami, we have about...
see, the more time you give, that's my first book. My second, I had more time, so my third would be like probably like that.
No, Rami, about 10 minutes.
All right, 10 minutes. All right, so the first thing usually when I talk about my stuff, I like to challenge, I like to make it interactive. So I like to challenge individuals one time, I won't bother you too much unless you're in my class, and to try to sit with your spine straight. We're talking about complementary, so that's the basic principles of starting with the body, and it's the alignment to create less pressure in the organs, free your lungs, free the vertebrae, and then the second thing I challenge you is to breathe as deep as you can throughout the lecture, because we are shallow breathers. We don't breathe deep. And talking to Judah Folkman, if you're aware of his research and stuff, he said, Rami, you're really onto something. This deep breathing is like, I consider it as a saving account. And every inhalation you take is another deposit into the bank, because people like so much money, so $1 million, whatever you want. But you have to make a conscious decision to become a breather, like a deep breather. Most of us are very shallow. If you ask most people to breathe deep, they'll go like this. Not many people can put air in different parts of the lungs or dive 2 minutes underwater, even though the record is 8 minutes in France and 5 in Japan. So building lung is a huge task in mind, body, and complementary, and that's part of what I try to teach. I'll give this also, there's a little bit of an article about me. It happened, so it fits the situation, I guess. It's later, you can look at it. And then, yeah, now you look at me. Yeah, but he gave a lecture at the second, he was a presenter, and we met him. And then I had a chance to talk to him, and we really connected. And he asked me to keep following him through all his lectures. And I did, and I had a lot of opportunity to...
He's a really famous immunologist.
Well, yeah, I guess I have that kind of luck or destiny, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, even when he met me, he said, how come you have all those good questions? Are you a doctor? I said, no. He goes, good genes, good genes. So, part of what I try to do in class is to complement the symptoms that most survivors have. The class is not just for the patient. I believe in one of the strong principles I believe in is creating a village. So we design the class in such a way that it's for patient, their family, and staff. So we have the 3 different groups, and then really one group helps the other and it motivates them over the years, over time. What we emphasize is dealing a lot with the symptoms that come with cancer, and then we also work on the 5 major building blocks of our being. So I try to focus on the body, on the breath, on the mind, on the energetic system, and eventually evoking the spirit. My theory is if you don't push all 5, you won't get the results you're looking for. I joke and I say, if you push all 5 at the same time, it's actually the key to activating the placebo effect. Because I've seen it again and again, that, and I'm talking in a positive way about the placebo. I know in medicine it has a little bit of a negative connotation, but I'm talking about it in a positive way. So if we know how to activate it, why not use that trick? So the best way to show it is through an exercise. So if I try to deal with bone density and muscle loss due to treatment and lifestyle of a cancer patient, so I designed 2 sets, for example, that build up muscle mass and bone density through resistance. So one set is legs apart, and the other set is legs together. When legs apart, it stimulates the outer thigh. When the legs together, it stimulates the inner thighs. Calcium is produced in the big bone, so a year later, it also builds up bone density. But this is just body. So what I say with the 5 building blocks, on top of the body, you need to have some kind of breath. So then the people, they work on deep breathing at the same time. So bring as much oxygen as possible into the bloodstream, saturating the bloodstream with oxygen, which is the Judah Folkman theory is about oxygen. And then secondly, the mind. So the mind cannot have a monitor or radio and just say, oh, how are you today? Did you go to the movies? Blah, blah, blah. No, because then the mind is not a part of it. So then we use the mind and put it in the breath for beginners. I say we, it's the royal we, yeah? All right, so now you have 3 blocks, body, breath, and mind. But that's for beginners. For more advanced, I tap into the Taoist philosophy. The Buddhist philosophy is more about just relaxation. Everything will fall into place if you relax. Or Herb Benson calls it the relaxation response, which I've been working with him also for the last... I actually worked with him before Dana-Farber, so I know him for 20-some years. And him and Ann Webster. And so the body, if it's in the breath, it's more of a Buddhist approach, which is more, if you relax, everything falls into place, or the response. But the Taoist philosophy has a much more aggressive visualization. And the way I interpret it is that it believes stronger in the power of the mind. What they consider visualization, I consider the power of the mind. So we don't really know what the mind is capable of and how powerful it is, even scientifically. So what I'm saying, why not tap into it? And if it doesn't hurt you, why not tap into it and try to utilize it? So then we use the mind to go into specific areas into the body and try to work on relaxing it more, dissolving areas. There's a whole, I call it chemotherapy, the Eastern way. So you go with your mind, you scan the body, and let's say you have a specific problem here or here, liver or spleen or kidney or whatever, or bladder or prostate. You get to that place and you pose there, and you, with your mind, whatever you stumble into is solid. And then from solid, you change it to liquid, and from liquid to gas, while you're sitting in a relaxed posture with alignment, breathing deep, and meditating. So it's kind of like, I call it, the Chinese call it meditation, Herb Benson call it relaxation response. I say everybody bottle it, I want to bottle it as well. So I call it, because of all the cutting science with brain stuff at MGH and everywhere at MIT, I call it the brain wave between awake and asleep. And I found out that if you're able to be between awake and asleep, a lot of healing and positive hormone production happens in the body. And in the East, they realize when you lie down, you just spend a split of a second there. You just spend a split of a second there. You lie down, it's that sweet spot that you disappear, and you still hear a little bit, muffle, and then you're gone, and the next thing you wake up. So you can't stay in it for long when you lie down. So what you do is they found out, wow, if I sit on the edge of the chair, and I call it you just activate enough muscles like the night light. It's just enough to have that night light. You know, if you sit like this, you can still fall asleep. Or we don't want to go all the way to dreamy sleep. You want to go right between awake and asleep. And sometimes, yeah, you do go to sleep, and sometimes you're too awake. So it is an art how to find this space between awake and asleep. And even standing, I found, wow, you can actually get there too, between awake and asleep. I was myself in the army, the Israeli army, and I remember one time one guy throughout my training fell asleep standing. We used to put matches not to fall asleep. It was 1 week, you're not allowed to sleep. And then I remember one day, one guy, boom, guess when he woke up? When he hit the floor, he woke up. So he had a little bit of sleep from here to there. So you can almost fall asleep standing, and the next thing they realize, wow, you know what, if you can almost fall asleep standing, then they realize, wow, you can actually almost be between awake and asleep when you do movements like that. So they realize, so that's why the Tai Chi is done so slow, because it's like you're in a meditative, it's more is done up here than in the body. So those are the, and then eventually, so through the power of the mind, we put the mind in different areas in the body, and we build the awareness, the ability to change things within locally and systematically. And the last thing I do is, so if you have an exercise, like we said, for building bone density and muscle mass because of lifestyle and treatment, so then the last thing, so you have the body, the breath, the mind is in an energetic system, so maybe the lower energy center, it builds up this system. And the last thing, I ask people to evoke the spirit. So they send their mind. I myself work with the nature spirit, so I'm trying to be neutral. And I send my mind deep into the earth and up into the heaven. But if any of the students is religion and wants to incorporate their own religious aspect, I encourage it, because I found out sometimes it's even stronger than just the nature. So I had a woman, for example, a lady said, Rami, instead of the earth and the heaven, can I see 3 angels coming down and holding their wings around me. I said, go for it. Your visualization is nicer than mine. And then Father Bruce came from the PI and said, Rami, you know, the energy center, you talk about, the Chinese talk about the upper and the lower center, and then I call it the energetic baton, and you put your mind inside. A lot of those energetic visualizations, tricks to tap into the power of the mind or create stepping stone in mind theory. But it doesn't matter. So he said, this light that you talk about inside, it's the light of God. I'm like, okay, it's the light of God. If you see it that way, I encourage it more. And then the next thing, I went home and I opened this book of illustrations of biblical stories. Then I see the Israelites going out of Israel. There's that light of God standing there in the corner. So I was laughing. I said, different people have different interpretation to spirit. But I think it's all legit as long as you're able to evoke the spirit. So evoking spirit is sometimes a challenge for certain people. For others, it's very easy, especially when you're faced with a disease, life-threatening disease. So it makes it even easier. Did I run my time? When did I start?
You're doing great. Thank you, Ramel.
So if you want to know more about what I do, there's 2 books I wrote. One is Sunrise Tai Chi and one is Sunset Tai Chi. And I try to make it simple to the students. A lot of what I did is I took a lot of yoga postures. You can pass them, I guess, around. And I simplified them. I made them a little more simple. And I try to tailor this towards different ages. I have a whole category, what I call unnecessary aging. Building bone density and muscle mass is part of it. Posture is another, cardiovascular, mental, visualization and the meditation. And if you're interested in more, if you're around tomorrow at 4:30, we're meeting. No? Okay.
But this is a program that Rami offers every Tuesday afternoon from 4 to 6 called Sunset Qigong. And it's sponsored, it's philanthropy supported, so people come into a room like this and will perform Qigong with Rami as their master. So.
The what? Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm a lousy PR, that's what I was told. I need the...
And then, did you also point out you're on the second page of the...
Yeah, the ID, there's the ID...
Good. All right.
Yeah, so somebody's asked, is there any research, any scientific evidence? Yes, with Taft, first of all, at the Dana-Farber, we did 2 major researches. We did a small study with Paul Richardson, and we showed that we're able in a Western institute